A strategy engineer is basically the engineer that is at the track that's there to help facilitate the decision making when it comes to what tyres we put on and when. In a Formula One team, you have your race engineer who's basically your kind of operation centre for communicating stuff to the driver, whether that's strategy, looking after tyres, changing some settings on the car. So what the process is I say, I think we should box this lap. My chief engineer usually agrees with me, and then that means that the call goes to the race engineer, and then the race engineer gets on the intercom, and that's the point where he says box, 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 and you usually can hear that at home on your TVs.
Okay, Marcus, box, box, box.
We try to make sure that 98% of the job is preparation. So what you're doing all throughout the race weekend is going through a whole load of data, and so that when you see an event unfold, you're actually reacting to something that you've already planned for, or at least it's a permutation of something that you've planned for.
So if there's a safety car on lap 5, you know in advance what your reaction will be?
Yes, so you spend quite a lot of time and don't have very much sleep after qualifying before the race, looking at all of the different possible permutations. So you need to be able to understand with where you are and what you've got, what's the best thing to do. So when the safety car comes out, you're not there doing maths live on the pit wall, you know how to react. So what we do is we talk with our drivers before, we go, right, if we say plan A, that means we're going to do a 2-stop. If we say plan B, that means we're going to do a 1-stop, because we don't really want to be saying 1 or 2-stop on the radio, because the people you're racing will find that out. And it's a way that we can say, this is what's happening, this is now what we're going to do. Part of the job is to explain to these drivers that are going around very fast and they've got to put their trust in you why we're doing what we're doing, and that is really as much part of the job as the maths is to go through before the race and see, right, because with our car, with our pace, this is the way we're going to attack the race. And so, even if it doesn't feel very comfortable in the car, actually, it could be the best result.
So Pascal, we stay out at the moment, we stay out.
Why?
We don't have the tires on temperature yet, stay out.
We had a very good race with Marcus in Mexico last year, where actually we did all but 2 of the laps of the whole race on a medium tyre. We're actually able to get to P11. It was a fantastic drive by Marcus, and it was a fantastic race result for us. A shame there was one more DNF and we got a point. But that was one of those races where actually in the car, you feel a little bit different, but the best thing is to just stay out and to try to do 1 fewer stop.
When it rains, how much more complicated does the whole thing become?
A lot more complicated, but a lot more fun. So most strategists love rain because you have massively changing conditions, and that's really where you as a strategist and as a driver and as a team, really, when you make the right calls, you get a lot more of an improvement, because rather than fighting over maybe 1 or 2 seconds, which is what we do at pit stops in a normal race, you're fighting over 5 or 10 seconds. And we saw in Brazil, actually, Sauber F1 team was able to end P9 in a very good race for our team by basically taking fewer pit stops than other teams did. And you see this effect happen quite a lot in wet races, and you really have to be on the right tyre at the right time.
What is the best strategic call you've ever seen in Formula One?
Oh, that's a really good one. So I like the Red Bull double shuffle in Canada a couple of years ago. Double shuffle means you box for a tyre, and then you go around again under safety car and box again. So you jettison a tyre you don't really like. That was very smart chap that's running that strategy team. There's been some really fantastic calls by Mercedes. Monaco 2016 being a really good example, where they stayed out on the full wet tyre and went straight to the ultra tyre, saving themselves a pit stop. Jensen 2011 in Canada. I'm not sure how much that was a strategist, how much that was him. That was a fantastic drive. There's some really good examples of some fantastic calls. Some of which though I watched when I was still at university, and that's actually the best thing is that you see these chief strategists that were kind of like, once your kind of idols and where you wanted to be, then become your competition. That's my best part of it.